In every age, in every world, Sam awakens in a body not his own. Each time he finds her Emma reborn with a different face, a different name, yet always the same soul. And each time destiny tears them apart. Now the journey has carried him to the land of the rising sun, where honor is law and love is forbidden. The first thing Sam felt was the weight of steel at his side. A sword, long and curved, resting against his hip. His hands, rougher now, gripped the lacquered scabbard, and when he looked down he saw the armor of a samurai glinting faintly in the morning light. The air smelled of pine and smoke, and the sound of a temple bell echoed somewhere far away. He was not Sam from New York, nor Cale from the Amazon, nor a soldier from Rome. He was someone else again. Men stood around him in rows, armored, disciplined, banners of their clan rising high into the wind. Their lord, a stern figure seated upon a horse, gave orders with a voice that cut through the silence like steel. Sam didn't know the words, but the body he wore remembered. He bowed low with the others, his forehead nearly to the ground, pretending he belonged. When the march ended, he was taken through the wooden gates of a great castle. High walls, tiled roofs, the smell of incense and cooked rice drifting in the air. His new name passed through the lips of the guards, Kaoru, a samurai sworn to Lord Takeda. Sam repeated it in his mind. Kaoru. Another mask. Another borrowed life. Inside the castle courtyard he saw her. She walked slowly, attendants at her side, her kimono flowing like water with each step. Her hair was pinned with gold, her eyes lowered in the way noblewomen carried themselves. But when she lifted her gaze, even just for an instant, he froze. It was her, Emma. Not Emma in the way he knew her, but Emma all the same, hidden in the body of another time, another face, another destiny. His heart pounded so loudly, he thought others might hear it. He wanted to call her name, but his lips wouldn't move. He had learned. If he reached too soon, if he pushed against fate too fast, it would only tear her away from him. He lowered his eyes, just as a samurai should, but inside he burned. Later that night, in the barracks where the men sharpened their swords by candlelight, Sam listened to whispers. The lady's name was Hana Takeda, daughter of the Lord. Soon she would be married off to the son of a rival clan, the Kuroda, to secure peace. Her future was sealed, her fate tied to politics, not to love. Sam lay awake, staring at the wooden beams above him. He had seen her again. He had found her again. But once more, the world had built walls around her, and he knew what it meant. To reach her, he would have to risk everything. Outside, the wind carried the faint sound of shamisen strings, and cherry blossoms drifted in the moonlight. Somewhere in the castle, Hana Takeda slept, unaware that her protector, her shadow in the night, was the same soul who had crossed deserts, empires, and jungles just to find her again. The days passed under the strict discipline of the castle, but Sam's eyes always drifted toward Hana Takeda. In the mornings, she walked across the garden, her attendants carrying lanterns or scrolls, her face calm and distant like the moon. At night, he heard the whispers of the other samurai. Her marriage to the Kuroda heir would seal the peace between clans. To them, she was not a woman. She was a bridge, a symbol, a tool for power. But to Sam, she was Emma. Always Emma. One night the moon was high and the corridors were silent. Sam walked the outer garden, pretending to patrol. The sound of water guided him to the koi pond, where lanterns floated like tiny stars. And there, alone beneath the blossoms, she stood. Hana Takeda. She raised her eyes, and for the first time, there was no wall of attendance, no veil of duty. Only her, fragile and human. Their gazes locked. Something passed between them. Something older than this world. Older than the clans and the swords that bound them. She did not speak, but her lips curved into the faintest of smiles, as if she too had been waiting. Sam bowed slightly, more out of instinct than custom. She tilted her head, studying him, and in that silence he knew she felt it. The pull, the echo of lifetimes past. In the nights that followed, they found each other again. Under the cherry trees where petals drifted like snow. Along the hidden paths by the river where fireflies lit the air. Words were few, gestures more. She would sit beside him and trace shapes in the dirt, while he listened to the rustle of her breath, the tremble in her hands when they almost touched. He longed to tell her the truth, to say her real name, but he held it back. If fate had put her here, in this body, in this age, then he would take her as she was. But destiny is never kind. One evening, as they met beneath the trees, Hana's voice broke the silence. She spoke in her language, slowly, carefully, as though choosing words she had never dared before. He didn't understand them fully, but he felt their meaning. I do not want this marriage. His chest tightened. She turned her face, shame flickering in her eyes. I belong to my clan, she whispered. He shook his head, stepping closer, heart pounding. No, you belong to yourself. She couldn't hear the words, but she understood the fire in his eyes, the way his hand trembled when he reached for hers. And this time, she didn't pull away. Their fingers touched, then clasped, and for a moment the world around them disappeared. But the world always returns. The following day, rumors spread in the barracks. Guards had seen shadows where there should have been none. A samurai lingering too close to the ladies' chambers. Whispers of dishonor, whispers of betrayal. Sam felt the eyes of his comrades on him, suspicion heavy in the air. He knew what would come. That night, Hana stood by the water, tears in her eyes. If they find us, you will die, she said, her voice shaking. He stepped close, resting his forehead against hers. If I must die, he whispered, then let it be for this. She didn't understand the words, but she understood him. And in the quiet of that night, they let the truth of their hearts speak louder than fear. But in the castle walls, footsteps echoed. The storm was coming. The dawn came heavy with silence. The castle courtyards were strangely still, the air thick with the weight of things unsaid. Sam rose from his mat, his sword already in his hand. Though no order had been given, something inside him knew. The whispers had turned into certainty. Their secret was no longer hidden. By the time he stepped into the garden, armored men were waiting. Their eyes were hard, their hands on the hilts of their blades. At their front stood the heir of the Kuroda clan, the man Hana was meant to marry. His armor gleamed, his expression carved in pride and fury. You dishonor both clans, he declared, his voice sharp as steel. Sam said nothing. What words could bridge lifetimes? What words could make them understand that she was not just a woman to him, not just a noble lady? She was the thread that bound his soul across time. All he could do was draw his blade, the steel whispering as it left its scabbard. The duel began. The clash of steel rang out in the courtyard, echoing against stone walls. Sam fought with the strength of desperation, every strike not for honor but for her. He moved swiftly, instinct guiding his arms, blocking, cutting, pressing forward. But the Kuroda heir was trained for this, his skill sharp, his rage burning. Around them, petals of cherry blossoms fell like snow, scattering on their blades, their armor, their blood. Sam's breath grew heavier, his muscles screaming. One mistake was all it took. The heir's blade cut deep into his side, a burning shock that stole his strength. He staggered, dropping to one knee, blood soaking into the ground. The warriors around them murmured, but none stepped forward. It was fate. It was the code. Then Hana broke through. She ran past the guards, her kimono trailing in the dirt, her eyes wide with terror. Stop, she cried, her voice shattering the silence. She fell to her knees beside Sam, her hands pressing against his wound, her tears falling onto his face. Please, please. Sam reached for her hand, his fingers trembling. He wanted to tell her everything about New York, about the desert, about the jungle, but all he managed was her true name. Emma, he whispered. She froze, her heart pounding, her lips trembling. She didn't know why that name felt like hers, but it struck deep inside her soul. She held him tighter, shaking her head. No, you can't leave me. His vision blurred, the world dimming around her face. He smiled faintly, weakly, his last breath breaking on his lips. I always find you. And then the light came. Golden, blinding, pouring from his body. The petals rose into the air, caught in a wind that came from nowhere. The samurai stepped back in fear, their faces pale as the light swallowed him. Hana screamed his name, clutching at him, but her arms found only emptiness. He was gone. The courtyard fell silent. Only Hana's cries echoed against the castle walls, a broken melody of grief, as the cherry blossoms fell endlessly around her. And far away, in another place, another body, another age, Sam opened his eyes once more.